From the Rest Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau, welcome to Focus on Southeast, a program on issues, events, and people impacting Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. On today's show, we will be focusing on the EDvolution Center, a recent grant for light therapy research, and find out about an upcoming trip by the SEMO Marching Band. Jana Gerard is our first guest, and she's coordinator in the College of Education, Health, and Human Studies at EDvolution. She's specifically our EDvolution person, so good to welcome you to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So first, if you would, Jana, tell us a bit about yourself and your background first.
So I actually have a background as an educator. I was a library media specialist and a middle school teacher, and during that journey, I fell in love with educational technology. So I got my master's degree, then my doctoral degree, and now here I am in Cape Girardeau at SEMO.
How long have you been here?
This is my 5th year at the university. I started the semester before COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting time to start.
Yes.
Yes. So let's talk about EDvolution. I learned some about this over the summer and just got a little bit of a taste of what happens at the center. So let's take a deep dive for the next few minutes on what EDvolution is and all the services that are there.
So the EDvolution Center comes from our previous dean, Dr. Diana Rogers-Atkinson, and she had this vision for our educator preparation program of the EDvolution Initiative. Mm-hmm. And so the EDvolution Initiative helps us prepare our educator preparation students, so those students that are going to be teachers, to fully be able to teach with educational technology as well as some other transformational teaching practices. Okay. And so the EDvolution Center is a piece of that initiative so that we have a space where our pre-service educators have access to the technologies and resources to really be able to teach with educational technology effectively and appropriately.
How does the Apple accreditation or distinction fit in with this?
So we are, our educator preparation program is an Apple Distinguished School program, and we just earned that distinction for the 3rd time, so it's kind of a big achievement for us. And so that's just Apple's way of acknowledging that our program is doing innovative things, I guess, teaching and transforming education through technology.
Let's talk about some of the spaces, the model classroom, perhaps. Let's start there and work our way.
So we do have the Jean Ann Whitaker Model Classroom, and it is a place where our students can come in and practice teaching their lessons. We do also teach in that classroom, so there are classes taught in there. And it's just it's a fully technologically evolved space, so it's fully web enabled, and it also has all of its furniture on wheels, so it just gives the students a place where they can come in and they can really practice new ways of thinking about teaching.
What about the sandbox?
So the sandbox is a fun space. We like to say, come play in our sandbox.
Oh, yeah.
But it is our coding lab. But when we talk about coding, we're not necessarily talking about learning a computer language. It's more about using our robots and our coding tools to teach with, to teach curriculum, to teach content. And then the students also get a little bit of the coding basics through that.
The Family Makerspace?
So the Smith Family Makerspace, it is all based in the design thinking framework. So it's a place where students can come in, they can use design thinking to solve problems, and it's really got some cool things in it. It's got augmented reality, virtual reality. We have a breaker space where you can actually break things to see what they're made of. Oh. We have physical manipulatives, digital manipulatives, things that mix the two. Okay. We have a laser cutter engraver, and we do large format poster printing in there. So it involves a lot of things.
That was on my list too. Of course, I'm in radio, so the podcasting booth caught my ear.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
We do have a podcasting booth where our students can come in, and we use GarageBand, and they can create podcasts with that. If they want to use a different platform, they can as well. Okay. And recently we were able to renovate that space a little bit now, so they are able to bring in guests and interview and create kind of polished podcasting. We also have 2 video creation spaces in the center. We have a green screen room, and we also have what's called a light board. And the light board is really cool. Okay. It's basically a large pane of glass that has LED lights in it. And it also has what we call instructor lights, so it lights up the person making the video. So the camera is actually on the other side of the glass, so you shoot the video through the glass. So you write on the glass, but then the software in the computer that's hooked to it flips that writing around so the person watching the video can read the writing oriented their correct way, and the person making the video, like, I don't have to write backwards so that they can do that. And you can also pull in slides and web pages and PDFs, PNGs. So when you're writing on the glass, it looks like you're writing on the slides, the PDF, the PNGs.
Okay.
So it's a really pretty cool and innovative way to create video.
Do you think the rest of the campus or community, for that matter, realizes how much technology is here at the center?
No, and it's something we're really working on to get people to understand the resources that are available. We have Macs, we have PCs, we have iPads, we have Chromebooks that are all available for people to come in and use inside the center. We do 3D printing for students in our college, but we also 3D print for community educators. And that's something else I think a lot of our community doesn't realize is the tools we have in our makerspace and the tools we have in our sandbox are also available to be checked out by community educators. So it's not just our students, not just our staff and faculty. Community educators come in and use those resources as well.
What's the most unique thing someone has printed on the 3D printer? Throw you a curveball.
Well, genitalia.
Really?
Yes, it was for a sexuality class, and I mean, we're a co-curricular space, so if that's what they need as a resource for their class, then that's what we'll print.
All right, and what about this large format poster? That sounds like a really cool, so you can, really huge things, right? Large posters?
Up to 44 inches in one dimension. And so it's a huge resource for community educators and for our students and faculty, because we don't make money from it. There is a charge, but we only have to pay for our paper and ink. So.
Yeah. And I guess so what's the goal of the center ultimately?
Ultimately, we're a place to solve problems. I mean, that's when somebody asks me what I do, that's what I say, I solve problems. But really, we're there as a resource and to provide expertise and those tools that our students and community educators need to be able to transform teaching in their classrooms.
And to note here, just for the community, the folks that are listening and watching, they have access to this center as well.
Yes, they are welcome to come to campus. We're right by Subway. We're easy to find.
Okay.
And for our community educators, they are more than welcome to check out our tools if they need it. We have a website. It's semo.edu/EDvolution.
EDvolution. Jana, thanks so much for being here and explaining the EDvolution Center to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dr. Santaneel Ghosh from SEMO's Department of Engineering and Technology will be here with us on Focus on Southeast. We will be right back.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. Southeast Missouri State University was recently awarded a grant from the National Science Foundation for light therapy research. The long-term goal of the research is to develop non-invasive therapeutic applications to improve the treatment outcomes for diseases that involve damage to the cells that line blood vessels. Dr. Santaneel Ghosh is leading the research, and he's here with me now. Dr. Ghosh, Neil, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So I read through some of this information, and I have to tell you, it's way over my head. So explain to us about this research, what you're going to be doing.
Okay, this is a research. It is in the area of interdisciplinary science and engineering. Basically, it's in the interface of engineering and medicine.
Okay.
Also, it needs the expertise from the applied physics and the biomedical sciences, biology. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to repair the endothelial cells which forms the lining of the blood vessels.
Okay.
By supplying energy from the specially designed nanoparticle or nanostructured materials.
So let's talk about the nano. I'm a Star Trek fan, so to be transparent, there's nanites that the Borg always used to sort of do repairs and to do things. So are we talking about something similar, little small robots, sort of?
think about like a like tip of the fingernail. That's probably 1 millimeter in length.
Okay.
Divide that by 1,000 times. Each tiny shape is 1 micrometer or 1 micron. Take 1 micron and further divide it in 1,000 tiniest, smallest size, and that is going to be 1 nanometer, which is 1 billionth of a meter.
Wow. So what you're trying to do, and this is a 2-year grant, I think?
This particular grant is for 2 years.
And so you're trying to figure out how to make these cells in the blood vessels stronger or repair them so that you don't lead to what, cardiovascular issues, I guess diabetes or any kind of things with the heart maybe?
For issues with diabetes and for cardiovascular risks, what happens here that these cells, these endothelial cells, they are exposed to the stress, external factors. Well, that could be coming from age, genetic mutation, could be lifestyle changes.
Okay.
But at end result is same. They are exposed to the external stresses, and finally they are depleted of their energy, so they cannot perform their work well, and at the end they die. So when it happens, that is the ideal time for the plaque formation inside the vessels. So what we are trying to do, we are designing these nano carriers or nano robots in a particular way so that they can gain entry to these cells and essentially draw energy when we are exposing them in a particular light radiation and magnetic radiation, so that they can draw the energy and supply these to these damaged cells, so that these cells then get the required energy needed and they can start performing their normal functions.
Okay. So how long, I mean, I'm guessing you've been working on this for a while before you got the grant. So how long have you been working on this particular topic?
Our area, or my research area, is nanoscale and bioengineering or nanobioengineering. I am in this field of research since I am here in Southeast. I joined Southeast in the year of 2007, and I developed my laboratory in the first 3 or 4 years. And since then I have started research along these tracks. Right now our research, previous research, and also current research is going on neural circuit regeneration. So we got success in that area of research, which gave us the perception, why not try this to heal the endothelial cells which form the inner lining of the blood vessels.
Well, and we know that if stress is one of the things that can contribute to this, that's something that we're seeing more and more, especially after pandemic. Stress levels for a lot of folks went up, so this is very timely for sure.
That's definitely very timely, and essentially the stress is basically the source of a lot of these problems. So,
what are you most excited about with this grant and this project?
Several things. The first thing, that this approach, our hypothesis, that has a great potential to initiate a newer way of treating this kind of disease. Right now, there are not any effective invasive or non-invasive therapy to treat these. So if we get success, if we can regenerate the endothelial cells using this approach, that would essentially lead a transformative way of implementing a newer methodology or treatment approach, number one. Number two, these would potentially draw the undergraduate and graduate students from different fields, from the fields of engineering, fields of sciences, chemistry, I mean all over computer science, all across the fields in the STEM. So this is a great step towards the workforce development, because we need to have trained workers in the field of nanoscale engineering, bioengineering, to solve the pressing societal needs in the near future. So this is a great opportunity for our students and for us as well.
So I would imagine a lot of the folks in the medical field are watching this, because this could really change the way medicine is administered, at least in this particular area. Is that fair to say?
For sure, yes. This has a great potential to change the therapeutic intervention modality.
So you've explained this really well. I understand it now. But when you try it, do people sometimes have a hard time grasping this? Because when we're talking about the little bitty robot things that are doing this repair, I mean, it almost sounds science fiction.
I would say nanotechnology was unknown to a lot of people or the common mass before the pandemic. But guess what? What happened? The pandemic, after pandemic, we got the vaccines. So Pfizer and Moderna, they brought their vaccines, and what are they? They're specially designed nanocarriers.
Oh.
So since then, the momentum is here, and common mass, they really understands that the potential of nanoparticles or nanostructures, if we can design and target them to take them in the proper places, there are huge potential, especially in the biomedical field.
Yeah. It's a 2-year grant. Is 2 years enough time to do what you need to do, or do you think there'll be more work that will have to continue even after that?
Very good question. So these 2 years are essentially it's the basic research part. It would come up with the strategy that how should we be after 2 years, depending on the results, and we are very confident that we will generate like extremely novel results. And after 2 years, there would be the situation how we might be able to take this technology from the laboratory to the market. So that opportunity probably will be coming down the track pretty soon.
Okay, this is probably not a fair question, but if the basic research goes well and move to the next step, when would you envision doctors using this to treat patients? I mean, are we talking 5 years, 10 years? Do you have any idea?
It's kind of a bit difficult to answer. This depends on exactly what phase of clinical trial that needs to go through. Usually these kind of treatments as clinical trials, this takes between 5 to 10 years to reach a doctor's clinic. And at that time, they might be holding a handheld device and expose people's blood vessels and essentially can repair them.
It's kind of exciting.
That's really exciting.
So before I let you go, how are students here at SEMO going to be helping with this research that you're going to be doing?
Students are essentially basically the pillars for this project. We have recruited some students from the graduate in their graduate program and in their undergraduate programs, seniors and juniors, and they have already started their work, and they are working in various parts of this project. And as time progresses, we are essentially, I am and our group members are reaching to the other students, and several actually have shown their interest to join in this project.
Great. We'll have to have you back soon to find out what you learned and how things are going with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for being here.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, we'll line up in formation with the SEMO Marching Band. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We will be right back.
Every day,
Millions of people are
connecting.
father,
cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences can make us stronger.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. The SEMO Marching Band has been invited to perform at the Bands of America Super Regional in Indianapolis, Indiana on Saturday, October 21st at Lucas Oil Stadium. The band is one of only 2 university bands nationwide invited to perform. Dr. Jim Daughters is director of the band's SEMO, and he's here now with all the details on that trip and more. Hey, Jim, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
So this is an exciting trip you guys are going to get to take.
It's incredible. It's, I think, probably a once-in-a-lifetime trip for the band, and maybe the biggest thing the band has done since we played at Super Bowl V back in the 70s. This is awesome.
How did it come about? Did you have to submit something, or did somebody reach out to you?
No, Bands of America is really a huge advocate for high school bands, but of course they advocate for college bands too. And I think our growing reputation in the region and our band is growing significantly. You know, we just got new uniforms.
Yeah.
The quality of the band, everything is such that we're a buzz in the college band world right now. So they extended an invitation to us and Purdue University, and that's incredible. Purdue's one of the best college bands in the country. 400 kids on the field, so we're in great company.
That's cool. So tell us about the trip and what's going to happen when you're there, and kind of set the stage for us.
Sure. We are leaving on October 20th, which is a Friday. We're actually going to have a pep rally on River Campus. We have a music ed colloquium that day where we'll have a lot of educators, and we're just going to throw a pep rally. We're going to travel to Indianapolis, and we rehearse Friday night at Ben Davis High School. They are very graciously letting us use their stadium for free, I might add.
That's cool.
And on Saturday, we're going to rehearse again that morning. We're going to go watch some of the best high school bands in the country. There are 88 bands there from coast to coast, and the best that the United States has to offer, basically. And then we perform at the end of finals competition. So we perform at 10:30 p.m., which is late, but it's really cool. There's a webcast that goes global, so I'm telling the kids we're going global. I mean, we're worldwide at this point. So, and then we'll come back the following day.
Are students excited?
That's an understatement.
I'm sure they
but
are.
Yeah, and the closer we get, the football games have been great. The college atmosphere is really cool, and I think the closer we get, I feel the intensity. I mean, I'm excited sitting here talking about
I can
it.
tell.
So,
how much are you doing to prepare? Is it like practice, like all the time?
well, it's not all the time. Marching band is a class, so we meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 to 6. And then, of course, we have football games. We just finished the SEMO District Fair Parade.
Yeah.
We did a few pep rallies. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, but our class time is kind of our sacred rehearsal time.
Okay.
And that's what we're using to prepare for this. We still have we're a service organization, really. We're ambassadors for the university. That's important to us. But also, we always say pregame is for the fans and the alums, halftime's for us. And that's kind of how we're going about it.
So, do you have to design a show for this, or are you just going to play? What's going to look like?
Sure.
I guess?
We actually start designing our shows really in the spring because there's just a lot that goes into it. It's more like a production now. It's not just marching and playing, like marching band of 30 years ago.
Yeah.
This is a full-on production. Sarah Gross, who is a theater major, is singing part of our show, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, an old classic, and she sings in the middle of the show. We're bringing stages out onto the field for dancers, and of course we move and we play, but there's a lot of theatrics and a lot of visual things that go into it. So we layer these things together all through the spring semester and in the summer. We have a lot of really creative students who add their own spin to our marching band show. What do we want to do? What do we want to represent? What do we want to say about us as an organization? So it's a massive group effort. I write our music, and we have a drill writer, a percussion writer, and we have a lot of teachers. Actually, a lot of professors from main campus are actually part of our staff who may have been in marching band in college.
Okay.
So majorettes and guard people, and they all just come and we all swarm that marching band every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 to 6.
So, is there a lot? I can't imagine the amount of prep to prep the show. So, do you kind of herd over the overall arching plan, and then you have folks that are supporting in the different areas?
Sure. Yeah, and we have people who write guard work and people who write our majorette work. The tricky thing with university bands is we think we know who's going to show up before school starts, but we never can really put anything in place until we see physical bodies in front of us. So we go into band camp a week and a half before the semester starts. So all of our students arrive early to campus. And once we see their faces, then we know, okay, here's what we're writing for.
Okay. And you're doing some fundraising to help make this trip possible. All right, tell us about that and how folks can help if they'd like.
You can donate to us online at give.semo.edu. We're trying to raise $45,000. It pays for the fuel, pays for charter buses, it pays for us to stay in Indianapolis for 2 nights, and of course we got to feed our students too.
Right.
And you all know the cost of fuel just, it's varying and everything is a little more expensive. So our students are working hard. We just parked cars at the fair, for example. We've worked some security vents at the Show Me Center. Our trumpet section's having a car wash out at Sonic, and we're doing a lot of things to try to raise money ourselves, but there are a lot of businesses who have donated, a lot of families, and a lot of faculty who have donated and really come to support us. We're almost there, 75% there, so about 10,000 more, and we'll have our trip paid for.
And of course, as we tape, so that's where we are now, and we still got a little bit of time, of course, for folks to get involved. What's the most exciting thing going on besides this right now with the band? Your band is growing, reaching out to the community. What kind of give us a sense of the feeling, I guess?
Sure. I think it's not just band, it's university-wide. Just the feeling at the football game on Saturday, that college atmosphere is something post-COVID that we've not really felt.
No.
And I think students are coming out of this, we call it the COVID coma, in the band, but that culture, that excitement, that work ethic, that college atmosphere, for the first time since the pandemic, I'm seeing it come back. And that's really exciting. And so the students being ambassadors to the university, we're going to Washington High School just west of St. Louis to play in a couple weeks. We're playing at Jackson High School next week. They're really excited about a lot of things. And I think we're coming out of that pandemic, maybe in some ways, stronger than when we went into it.
Talk a little bit about the importance of band and how the band members develop these close relationships, the bonds, just that culture there within
Sure.
the band.
Most of these students have been in band probably since 6th grade. And over, I think, 65% of our marching band is students who are not majoring in music. So we have students from every college and every major on campus. They all converge on River campus for rehearsal. And I've seen many marriages come from marching band, and there's a few happening now.
Oh, wow.
And we have all those relationships, and band kids are band kids wherever you go. I always joke and say a trumpet player is a trumpet player wherever you go. They always act the same. But those relationships are really special. And I think they are relationships that are lifelong. In fact, we have alumni band coming up, and we have over 100 alums coming back to play an alumni band. So
that's a special thing.
that is a very special thing. Yeah.
Could you tell I was a trumpet player when I was in band? You probably couldn't tell, could you?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay, all right.
But,
Well, I didn't play in college, and I stopped in high school, but I enjoyed it.
Sure.
So it's an exciting thing, and once a band kid, always a band kid.
For sure.
Fair to say?
100%.
So how can folks get involved in other ways? What would you tell that our viewers and listeners should do to help support you guys?
Sure. Just come to the games. Go to Cape Central games. Go to Jackson games. Go support your local high school band. Support us. And you support us a lot by being there and cheering for us. That helps us a lot.
How much interest? That just gives you that.
Oh, yeah. We love playing for people.
Yeah.
We love when the audience gets excited. That's what we all want.
It's exciting. Dr. Jim Daughters, thank you so much for being here, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Focus on Southeast is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. Just a reminder that portions of these conversations will be broadcast on KRCU Public Radio and will also be available online at krcu.org and on the station's YouTube channel. From the Russ Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when we focus on Southeast.